15 years ago, Chris Hughes helped Mark Zuckerberg get Facebook off the ground. They were roommates in the same dorm. Now Hughes says it's time to break up the company. Publish an op-ed in the New York Times, where Hughes says Facebook is so powerful it threatens American democracy. Look at what he actually says. We are a nation with a tradition of reigning in monopolies, no matter how well-intentioned the leaders of these companies may be. Mark's power is unprecedented and un-American. Hughes spoke out against Facebook's leadership on this program last December.
There has to be accountability. I mean, this idea that that no one can be held accountable in the long run, not just for the issues that have cropped up recently with privacy, but also for the election meddling that happened in 2016. They're making a lot of efforts to change things, but the problem is the message that they're sending is getting transformed by the fact that there are these new revelations every single day.
Okay, now joining the conversation, get out your phones and go to cnn.com/join. Should Facebook be broken up? Remember, it's Instagram, it's WhatsApp, it's Facebook, and the argument is that all three of them put everything else together as well, and you've got this mega monopoly. Well, should they be broken up? Yes or no, up or down, straightforward vote, and we will see the results on your screen. Hughes' answer to check Facebook's power is to split aside its assets, divide Facebook, Instagram and WhatsApp into distinct companies with more federal oversight, create an agency to regulate tech companies, strong privacy legislation, acceptable guidelines on speech on social media. Facebook has responded. Facebook says Facebook accepts that with success comes accountability, but you don't enforce accountability by calling for the breakup of a successful American company. Ironically, the statement comes from Nick Clegg, who's Facebook's Vice President of Global Affairs and Communications, who did used to be the Deputy Prime Minister of Great Britain. My next guest worked at the FTC's investigation into Facebook. Ashkan Soltani is a former chief technologist at the FTC. He's with me from Oakland, California. Simple question. Is Hughes right? Should Facebook be broken up?
So I think that's one approach, although personally I don't think that will matter all that much, right? So Facebook has 2.3 billion users. WhatsApp and Instagram have, WhatsApp and Messenger and Instagram all have just over 1 billion, but there's a lot of overlap in those users. So breakup is one, although it won't prevent Facebook from creating copycats of emerging social networking services, from using its basically dominance in the social graph and the social ability to target users. So I don't think that's the right question.
It's not very helpful of Hughes, is it? I mean, it sort of sticks in the claw a bit that he set the thing up. He's extremely wealthy as a result. I'm all right, Jack. Now break the thing apart. Criticizes, including criticizing Mark Zuckerberg, who I'm sure there's no love lost now between the two.
Oh, I'm not disagreeing with Hughes. I think absolutely there needs to be oversight. And what I think is the more important piece is injunctions around the company's practices from using its dominance to copy other competitors and grow and squash competitors at a rate that's kind of anti-competitive in the marketplace, which we've seen.
But
I don't think breakup will deal with it.
Right. I mean, the issues of privacy, the issues of as you say, I remember when WhatsApp and Instagram started using some of the same things that Snapchat did. Everybody says all they've done is steal the clothes and squash the competition. Do you think they're still at that?
Absolutely. And I think one thing they have is the ability to suddenly push a new product or service to 2.3 billion users and have it grow virally without needing to do the same ad spend or same outlay as a competitor would. So whatever the next competitor, they can grow instantly with their 2.3 billion users. This is the same thing we saw in Microsoft in the 90s, right, in the 2000s.
Microsoft, of course, changed itself, arguably, didn't become necessarily less monopolistic. Others came along and it made it less relevant, but they reinvented themselves with the cloud. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, no, right? So there was also a requirement, for example, to debundle the browser in Europe and allow others to play on the same playing field, right? Which was other people could play on Windows. The questions of interoperability as well as injunctions on the company are, I think, more critical than talking about breakup, right? It's hard to unscramble the egg, really.
Right. So, finally, do you see Facebook, to paraphrase from the Goldman Sachs days, as the great vampire squid? as it continues to morph, that hasn't learned really the lessons, and at best is involved in damage limitation rather than actually fundamental changing of modus operandi?
Oh, I think it's not the vampire squid. I think it's the judo warrior, right? Facebook is leveraging things like GDPR, incoming privacy regulation, incoming pushes for content moderation to really focus itself on how to best monetize and best position itself for the future, right? All this incoming regulation will actually help Facebook in some sense, right? It will allow the company to better know its users, to better provide services via end-to-end encryption without having any accountability for what happens on its platform, therefore improving even its ROI. It currently makes something like $800,000 per employee, which is something like 4x what Google makes, Alphabet makes, and about 10x anyone underneath them, right? And so it's going to even increase those margins further by leveraging incoming regulation to allow it to do what it does on a greater scale.